Here is your General Hospital spoiler sneak peek video for Wednesday, November 26, 2025. Willow appeared hesitant when she walked into Drew's dawn of day house and acted like she really didn't want to be there at all. Even when Drew proposed, she seemed shocked and not ready to go through all of that again with a man who had lied to her. The next thing we knew, she was announcing her engagement to Elizabeth, but had no idea that Michael witnessed the whole thing. When Willow asks someone if they are planning to talk her out of marrying Drew, does Michael tell her what he knows? Or does Nina once again try to get her daughter to see reason? As for Drew, things don't go well for him when he dines on his own at the Port Charles Grill. Stella tears into him, which is her right after he tried to have her put behind bars. Drew informs Stella that he always gets what he wants. Brooklyn seems to finally realize that her husband is quite serious about trying to clear Willow's name. She is a little taken aback by how much he cares, but she also wants to be supportive of him after he stood by her side through various secrets this past year. How will Chase feel if he learns that Willow really did shoot Drew, which is still a very distinct possibility? Nathan knew he was taking a risk when he had Rocco released into his custody until his bail hearing, but he couldn't let the kid sit in juvenile detention any longer. When Dante learns what happens, he realizes it's not a good look for the new acting police commissioner and tells Nathan they need to fix the optics. Jason tells Lulu that Danny and Charlotte are ready to take their own risk because they plan to lie to save Rocco. Lulu realizes she has more problems with her daughter than she had realized. Charlotte is a handful and is going to need some reining in. Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. General Hospital spoilers update for Wednesday, November 26th reveals that Jason Morgan will face a harsh reality while Harrison Chase gets some alarming news. Nathan West and Dante Falconeri will also strategize, so plenty of excitement is coming up in Port Charles. First on Wednesday's GH, Stella Henry will have a restaurant run-in with Drew Kane. Drew will get an earful from Stella, who'll rant about the destruction he causes for so many victims. Curtis Ashford may get involved in this confrontation too, since he'll be at the Port Charles Grill with Stella showing off Portia Robinson's sonogram. Regardless, Drew will be brimming with confidence, especially now that Willow Tate has agreed to his latest marriage proposal. That'll leave Drew convinced he can pull off anything if he wants it bad enough. At the PCPD, Dante will be grateful over Nathan putting his job on the line to get Rocco Falconeri out of that juvenile detention facility. ADA Justine Turner also caved and got an ASAP bail hearing in the end, so she feels confident Rocco will be home for Thanksgiving. However, Dante will end up doing some strategizing with Nathan on Wednesday's episode, so we'll see if that's about Rocco's case or perhaps the shooter investigation instead. Dante will ultimately mull over the Drew whodunit again and wonder if the PCPD needs to focus on Curtis as a suspect. Curtis will land on the hot seat as Dante takes a closer look at him on Wednesday's show. Across town, Chase and Brooklyn Quartermain will get updates on Willow's engagement, so that may strengthen Chase's resolve to stop Willow from digging a deeper Drew hole. Chase may want to prove Willow doesn't have to rely on Drew for help and convince her to rely on him instead. This could lead to Chase working even harder to score firm evidence that Ezra Boyle was with Jacinda Bracken the night of the shooting, which would ruin Michael Corinthos' alibi. Both Chase and Brooklyn will react with shock when it comes to Willow's looming wedding. Since Chase will be so passionate about coming to Willow's rescue, Brooklyn may have no choice but to accept the risks he's taking on. As for Willow, she'll keep her guard up as someone shows up to see her at Drew's place. Willow will assume this person is there to talk her out of marrying Drew, but that may not necessarily be the case. If it's Nina Reeves who visits Willow, she may understand the logic of her daughter becoming Drew's wife for the sake of the trial. That doesn't mean Nina will like it, but she may agree keeping Willow out of prison is the most important thing now. At the gallery, Portia Robinson will speak with Ava Jerome and realize another crisis is underway. Ava may feel the need to spill to Portia after witnessing Drew's confrontation with Stella and Curtis. Over with Lulu Spencer, she'll turn to Jason with questions. Jason obviously won't divulge anything about getting rid of Professor Henry Hank Dalton's body, but he may hint that Dalton may have disappeared for good. That could work out well for Rocco, but Jason will also think there's a reality they need to face. Jason may worry about the continued threat to Rocco now that he's on Gen Z Sidwell's radar. Jason might also fret about the risky situations that Danny Morgan and Charlotte Cassadine have been landing in. The reality is that Charlotte and Danny have struggled with one parent always out of the picture in recent years. Jason may acknowledge that it's been hard on the teens and that they'll need more guidance moving forward. General Hospital spoilers say Jason and Lulu will have a lot to discuss, so stick with the ABC soap. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Josslyn Jax will fume over Vaughn'S forced PC exit. Jack Brennan's punishment will hit hard, so let's discuss the curveball that's headed Josslyn's way. In GH's November 24th episode, Vaughn paid a steep price for trying to pursue a romance with Josslyn behind Brennan's back. Brennan was obviously watching Vaughn like a hawk since he knew about Vaughn's latest romp in the sheets with Joss. Since Vaughn couldn't follow orders, Brennan decided to show him what happens to people who go against him. Vaughn's disobedience got him manhandled and hauled off by 2 other agents, so he's apparently being removed from Port Charles, at least for now. Chris McKenna opened up about Brennan's decision in an interview with Saudi. McKenna didn't find this bold move surprising since Brennan gave the pair repeated warnings and an extra day in Australia for romantic closure. Vaughn and Josslyn decided to sneak around together anyway, so Brennan opted for more drastic action. That's sure to result in some tension once Josslyn realizes Brennan took Vaughn out of the picture. As far as how that's going to affect his relationship with Josslyn, McKenna said, I think he's had to lay down the law numerous times, and it just hasn't stuck. I think this time, she's maybe going to get the message that you don't mess with Brennan. McKenna acknowledged that Brennan is guilty of breaking the rules himself from time to time, but he's still Josslyn's boss, and she's gonna remember that right quick when her boyfriend's gone. Of course, it's possible Vaughn has been locked up in a WSB facility somewhere if Brennan really wants to get tough about all this. It's also possible Vaughn was simply reassigned to another location to prevent his continued romantic encounters with Josslyn. Either way, Brennan expects Josslyn to focus on her mission, not her flying sparks with Vaughn. This will definitely be a lesson for Josslyn about Brennan's orders and how far he'll go when they're ignored. Josslyn will no doubt lash out and demand answers about Vaughn's vanishing act, but Brennan doesn't have to answer her questions. Brennan may just tell Josslyn to concentrate on the task at hand and put Vaughn in the rearview mirror. General Hospital spoilers say Josslyn will have a big reaction to the latest Vaughn news, so stick with us for updates on all the drama. General Hospital spoilers for the week of December 5 reveal that Drew Kane and Willow Tate will face a marriage test while Josslyn Jax deals with a crushing blow. Jason Morgan will also try to figure out some proof, so let's discuss where things will go from here. For starters, Willow and Drew are gearing up for a speedy marriage ceremony, but will it get derailed again or completed this time around? Drew and Willow's wedding should be tested through snags and naysayers, but we'll see if they actually become husband and wife. As for Josslyn Jax, she'll face a crushing blow when she realizes Jack Brennan got rid of Vaughn. Vaughn betrayed Brennan by sneaking around with Josslyn, so Jack had him escorted elsewhere by some other WSB agents. Despite Josslyn's questions and the anger she throws Brennan's way, he may argue she's just as much to blame as Vaughn is. Brennan will throw his weight around as the boss and push Josslyn to concentrate on her current assignment. At Windermere, Lucas Jones may pick up on some strange happenings behind closed doors. The longer Lucas stays under Jen Sidwell's roof, the more likely it becomes he'll witness something he shouldn't and put himself in jeopardy. Over with Sonny Corinthos, GH spoilers say he'll have multiple challenges on his hands. Laura Collins is clearly a nervous wreck over this whole Professor Henry Hank Dalton situation, so Sonny may have his work cut out for him keeping her quiet. Of course, Sonny will also have to figure out how to handle Sidwell since he can't stand by and let him make so many problematic moves. Perhaps Sonny will consider letting Jason wipe Sidwell off the map sooner or later. In the meantime, Jason will face a challenge of his own since he needs to come up with some proof that he can be trusted. Britt Westbourne still isn't willing to put her faith in Jason and confess everything she's up against, but Jason will hope to change that soon enough. Maybe a grand gesture or another heroic act could play a role in Jason's efforts at some point. Next, Curtis Ashford has more police investigation problems coming up due to the Drew shooter case. Portia Robinson may land on the hot seat in a different way if Isaiah Gannon finally learns she's pregnant and realizes he's a biodad option. General Hospital spoilers say both Curtis and Isaiah will find out about the paternity mystery at some point, so stay tuned for updates on when they'll face that stunning news. The Davis girls on General Hospital have been a popular family for fans of the show for many years. They have had a lot of trauma and heartbreak the last couple of years, but for the time being on the show, they are happy and focused on their work. No matter which actresses have played the roles of her daughters, the lead Davis woman, Nancy Lee Grahn, has always embraced her role as Davis matriarch and been a real-life mama figure to her co-stars. Grahn, who plays Alexis Davis on General Hospital, shared her off-screen love of her on-screen daughters this week on her social media accounts as they spent quality time together off-screen. Grahn shared a video of her TV daughters, Kate Mancy and Kristen Vaganos, having some fun social time with her real-life daughter, Kate Grahn. The video was made by Mancy, who posted it to her TikTok account. The video shows the women cooking and playing with a pair of dogs. It also shows all three daughters sitting in a bed with the wine and the dogs, hanging out and smiling together. At the end of the video, Grahn herself joins all three of them and the pups. The video also included a couple of older promotional photos of Nancy Lee Grahn, who captioned the video simply, "My girls." Mancy commented on the post, "Love ya mama," and "Damn, I'm good at these." Vaganos commented on the post, "Davis women on 3, 1.2.3. The Instagram user Daniela-Rose27 commented, "What a life blessing you all found each other. Work brought you together and love developed the relationships. Pretty cool. And that Kate Grahn being part of it and the relationships is just spectacular." The user WWFT11 added, "This is why the relationship between the Davis girls is so authentic. Your off-screen love bleeds into the love of your characters, and it's a joy to watch." The two dogs got plenty of praise too. The Instagram user Debhushka1 said, "I want the pups, they are adorable." The user Molly's Devanes added, "Mission: get the Davis girls a pet starts now. This is adorable." Several other followers asked if they could be a Davis girl too. Alexis Davis has had a lot of drama on General Hospital with her 3 daughters and lost one last year after the murder of Sam McCall. Sam was Alexis's daughter with Julian Jerome. Molly's father is Rick Lansing, and Christina's is Sonny Corinthos. Grahn's real-life daughter, Kate, is a musician who regularly releases music, including a new single called Devoured in October. You can check out some of her music here. General Hospital spoilers for the next 3 weeks, November 24th to December 12th, hint that there'll be some Professor Henry Hank Dalton clues, Quartermain chaos, Windermere scares, and rushed wedding bells. During the week of November 24-28th, Drew Kane will surprise Willow Tate with another marriage proposal. Meanwhile, Michael Corinthos will contemplate granting Willow access to the children again. But will her proposal answer for Drew mess up her chances to see Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos? Over with Liesl Obrecht. She'll push Nina Reeves to publish something that'll help Rocco Falconeri, but Britt Westbourne may be more concerned about the help he's getting from Sonny Corinthos. Although Britt may fear Sonny and his mob threats will do more harm than good, things may work out for Rocco in the end. Sonny will deliver a stern warning to ADA Justine Turner, who may make sure Rocco's granted bail and given lesser charges. Rocco is hoping to be home by Thanksgiving, so maybe his wish will come true. As for Nathan West, he'll catch Dante Falconeri off guard. Could Nathan have a Dalton clue that leaves Dante suspicious of Sonny, and maybe even Laura Collins as well? Nathan could at least mention his roadside encounter with Laura, and how Sonny came to her rescue. It could plant an interesting seed for Dante that might grow into something more troubling later. As for Harrison Chase and Brooklyn Quartermain, they'll get a shock. That could tie in with Willow and Drew's engagement if she indeed accepts his offer of marriage. Next, Stella Henry will fly into a rage, so that may be due to Curtis Ashford rising to the top of the PCPD's shooter suspect list. Portia Robinson will grow increasingly worried about the Drew situation, along with her paternity mystery, since Curtis still doesn't know there could be another father candidate. Isaiah Gannon isn't even in the loop on Portia's pregnancy yet, so there's much more mayhem to come in this storyline. We should also talk about the Thanksgiving schedule, since GH will be preempted for sports coverage on Thursday, November 27th. That'll be followed by another preemption on Friday, November 28th. The week of December 1 to 5 should bring Josslyn Jax's outrage when she realizes Jack Brennan made S. Vaughn disappear for his insubordination. However, Brennan will remind Josslyn that she was warned not to continue her romantic involvement with Vaughn. Josslyn disobeyed orders too, and will have to pay for that, so she may be left wondering where Vaughn's gone and for how long. Of course, if Willow agrees to a second-chance wedding with Drew, then they'll have some planning to do. Drew and Willow might put a rush on their nuptials since it'd be better to head into her trial as a married couple. There'll also be some bizarre developments at Windermere that tangle Lucas Jones up in some dangerous drama. Lucas' life could be at stake if he goes poking his nose where it doesn't belong. During the week of December 8 to 12, Brooke Lynn and the rest of the Quartermaine clan may face Tracy Quartermaine's wrath for deceiving her about Ned Quartermaine's heart attack. Tracy is being left in the dark on Ned's medical ordeal, so she won't be happy once she finally returns from France. You can bet Tracy will lash out over all the secret-keeping and blow up over Drew abandoning Ned after he collapsed. Back with Laura, Sunny may have to watch her closely, or else she could crack under the mounting pressure of this Dalton mess. Once Valentine Cassidy's stateside transfer is complete, Carly Spencer may also pay him a visit so they can discuss the next phase of their Brennan takedown scheme. Plus, the Drew shooter saga will inevitably come with a few more twists and turns, so stay tuned for updates on any shocking news in the investigation. General Hospital spoilers say the next 3 weeks will bring some curveballs and wild moments, so stay tuned. General Hospital recap for Tuesday, November 25th, reveals that Willow Tate said yes to Drew Kane's ring, while Nathan West rescued Rocco Falconeri, and 2 liars were busted. At GH, Michael Corinthos showed up for his continued burn treatment and learned from Elizabeth Baldwin that Willow had moved out of her place. Michael realized Willow had moved back in with Drew, who was busy giving Willow a warm welcome home across town. Drew made it clear that he wanted to get their future back on track, and eventually dropped to one knee for a proposal. It would obviously look good if Willow was married to Drew when her trial began. Drew pushed for a small, non-church ceremony this time, and assured Willow he was doing this out of love, so he questioned if she loved him back. At the Port Charles Grill, Liesl Obrecht pushed Nina Reeves to write a crimson story on Rocco. And this miscarriage of justice. Nina argued that Lulu Spencer was a better fit to write that elsewhere. Nina was more concerned about Willow only having Drew for a support system. After Nina mentioned Willow moving back in with Drew, Liesl scolded her for offering up the fake alibi that caused so much trouble. After Nina hinted about doing something she regretted, Obrecht mistakenly assumed Nina had been the one to shoot Drew. Nina denied it and revealed that she'd pointed the finger at Portia Robinson to draw attention to another suspect. However, Nina now knew there may have been no need for that since Michael's alibi was on shaky ground. Back with Elizabeth, she suggested to Michael that if he gave Willow access to the kids, it might show Willow that she had options besides relying on Drew. However, Michael put the focus on Willow's bad choices and felt his children deserved better than an attempted murderer for a mother. Later, Willow showed up to ask about Liz's Thanksgiving plans and wondered if she'd be her maid of honor. After Willow showed off the engagement ring on her finger, Elizabeth agreed to her request and embraced her. Michael stood nearby, fuming, as he realized Willow was once again engaged to Drew and wearing Lila Quartermaine's ring. At Lulu's place, Nathan showed up to take her to Rocco's juvenile detention facility following the news of his attack. Meanwhile, Alexis Davis, Laura Collins, and Jason Morgan helped Charlotte Cassadine and Danny Morgan prepare to go on the record with their story. Danny and Charlotte insisted that Professor Henry Hank Dalton punched Rocco in the stomach at the lab, but Alexis, Laura, and Jason clearly didn't buy it. Alexis knew she couldn't let Danny and Charlotte use a false statement, so she ultimately confronted the lying teens out, since this would just create more issues. At the juvenile detention facility, Britt Westbourne was upset over Rocco's beat-up face and demanded a first aid kit from the guard as she tossed threats around. Rocco apologized for stealing the key fob, but Britt didn't make a big deal out of it. Instead, Britt cleaned Rocco's cuts and warned him that Sonny Corinthos's was liable to make things worse for him. After Britt barked more threats at the guard and left, the guard questioned if that had been Rocco's mom. Rocco started to say yes, but then he hastily explained it was just someone he was close to. Lulu came to see Rocco next along with Nathan, who feared Rocco had been targeted because of Dante and possibly Sonny. Nathan decided to take Rocco back into custody at the Peace PD and urged the guard to take it up with ADA Justine Turner if there was a problem. At Windermere, Ava Jerome dropped by to speak with Jens Sidwell about some new art, but he was admittedly not in the best mood because of the Measure C vote and his lost chance at the Piers. The conversation shifted to Sonny and Rocco, so Sidwell feigned sympathy. Britt burst in wanting to speak with Sidwell, so he called out her rudeness and privately warned her not to get sloppy like Dalton. Britt pressured Sidwell to help get Rocco out of the juvenile detention facility, where he'd been attacked. Sidwell hinted about Sonny and Laura's unforeseen repercussions for their failure to cooperate, so Britt realized Sidwell must have arranged for Rocco's assault. At the police station, Sonny complained to AD Turner about Rocco's attack and wanted to know what the holdup was regarding the bail hearing. Justine admitted Professor Dalton had disappeared before she could question him about the smashed lab photos. With Dalton missing and Rocco in danger, ADA Turner planned to seek an immediate bail hearing. Soon after, Sonny realized Nathan had taken Rocco into custody and was going to put him in the interrogation room, so he vowed to stay with his grandson. Lulu was worried about Nathan putting his job on the line to help Rocco, but Nathan felt he could handle it. ADA Turner indeed blasted Nathan for taking matters into his own hands, but was willing to back him up this time. Justine also delivered updates on the bail hearing being set for this afternoon and said she didn't expect bail to be denied at it. Back at the Port Charles Grill, Ava joined Liesl and Nina's table, where she spilled about Britt interrupting her earlier discussion with Sidwell. Drew came along with a Thanksgiving dinner invitation and assured Nina that she wouldn't want to miss it since dessert would be spectacular. General Hospital spoilers say some wedding drama could be looming, so stay tuned. General Hospital spoilers hint that Ezra Boyle's death may be next as the body count rises in Port Charles. Does another grim fate await? Professor Henry Hank Dalton was a problematic character who was just begging to get killed off. As Gen Z Sidwell mentioned, Britt Westbourne sealed Dalton's fate the moment she ratted him out as a traitor. Once Laura Collins found Dalton's corpse in her trunk, Sonny Corinthos put Jason Morgan to work on the body disposal. Now there's no trace of Dalton in Laura's car, so Sonny's hoping to bury all this. We can't help but notice there's another problematic character on canvas who could easily be marked for a grisly outcome. Ezra is a smug sleazeball who'll inevitably face some kind of downfall, so it could be a fatal one. Like Dalton, Ezra may cross one too many lines and face more trouble than he bargained for. The next time a body turns up in PC, it may be Ezra who's been left cold and lifeless. Ezra definitely seems like the sort of GH character who'd face a deadly departure, so we should keep that in mind as his storyline moves along. Since Ezra is on Team Sidwell, that alone could open the door to fatal risks. Sidwell has proven he'll eliminate allies who become liabilities and turn out to be more trouble than they're worth. Ezra could follow in Dalton's footsteps on that, so Sidwell could get rid of him permanently. That might even bring another body predicament for Laura and Sonny if Sidwell decides a second setup is in order. However, there are other ways for Ezra to end up in the danger zone. Harrison Chase is hoping to disprove Michael Corinthos' alibi using Ezra, who was with Jacinda Bracken the night of Drew Kane's shooting. Sonny doesn't think Willow Tate should go down for the crime if she didn't commit it, but he certainly doesn't want Michael behind bars either. If Sonny has to eliminate Ezra to preserve Michael's freedom, that may be something he's willing to do. No matter what's in store for Ezra, it can't be good news. Ezra is a very expendable character who's meant to be unlikable. so he's got fatal exit written all over him. General Hospital spoilers say some Ezra excitement is still to come on the ABC soap, so stick with us for updates on whether that'll lead to his last breath. Here are your General Hospital spoilers for Wednesday, November 26th, 2025. We still have no idea how Willow answered Drew after he asked her if she was still in love with him. Did she skip the love part and just say she would marry him? Or does she actually still love Drew? Or does Nina pop in to see her daughter and once again remind her that Drew ruined her life? And no, he is not going to be able to help her get her kids back. It feels like Willow definitely does not want to hear that. Drew doesn't seem to want to celebrate his engagement with his fiancée, so he heads off to the Port Charles Grill instead, where he runs into Stella, the old lady he tried to put behind bars out of petty vengeance. Stella is not one to take things lying down and confronts Drew, asking him how many lives he is ready to destroy today. A smug Drew just says that he gets whatever he wants. When Lulu gets home from the PCPD, Jason has a talk with her and informs her that her daughter is a little liar who is ready to perjure herself and have Danny perjure himself. Lulu is not happy as Jason tells her that there's a reality they need to face. Over at the PCPD, Dante is alarmed when he hears that Nathan took it upon himself to get Rocco out of juvenile detention. This might not look good with the judge, as Rocco might be seen as getting preferential treatment. Dante tries to think about how they are going to combat this latest problem. Here is your General Hospital recap for Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. When Michael checked in for an appointment at the hospital, Elizabeth noticed he was looking around for Willow and was told she'd been put on administrative leave. Elizabeth said she hoped Michael would talk with Willow for her sake and his. Michael even thanked Liz for all she'd done for Willow. It really speaks volumes to who you are as a person. There aren't many people who would let Willow stay with them right now, Michael said. That's when Liz told Michael that Willow was staying with Drew. I don't know why I'm surprised. Every opportunity Willow has to course correct and make a good decision, she makes a terrible one instead, Michael said. Liz pointed out that Willow seemed to think that being with Drew was the best shot she had at seeing her children. But if you have a way to convince her otherwise, Liz suggested. Michael knew that Elizabeth meant giving Willow access to their kids. He pointed out that Willow made no effort to keep him connected to his kids while he was in Germany. Liz pointed out that she tried to visit, but Michael didn't count that time. Drew is the man she wants to be with, and no matter what he does, every single time she just goes back to him, Michael said. He felt that keeping Willow away from the kids was protecting them from their mother and her continued foolish choices. Willow arrived at Drew's place with a suitcase, but didn't look happy about it. Drew came up behind her and said, "Having you back in the house is the best thing that's happened to me in a long, long time." Willow admitted it felt strange to be there, as she hadn't been in the house since right before their ill-fated wedding. She wondered how Drew could live there like he wasn't actually shot there. "The same way I get through all the challenges, by thinking about you," he said. Drew told Willow that if she had bad memories about the house, then he would just get a new one. Willow still seemed pensive. "Are you having second thoughts about moving back in here with me, or being with me at all?" Drew asked. Willow said that she just knew that she was going to be found guilty, so she couldn't get too comfortable. Drew had confidence that Alexis could get her off. Drew then got down on one knee and once again asked Willow to marry him. Willow was a bit taken aback as Drew explained he didn't want a big wedding. "Even if you do go to trial, there is no better defense than me standing beside you as your husband," Drew reminded. Willow then started considering the proposal, but then told Drew she wanted to get married for the right reasons. Drew then asked if Willow loved him. Nina met with Liesl at the Port Charles Grill at Liesl's behest. "I need you to use your editorial powers for good. Do a story about Rocco and the gross miscarriage of justice by the PCPD," Liesl begged. Nina didn't think writing about Rocco in a fashion magazine would do any good. She thought Lulu had better news connections. Nina reminded Liesl that Rocco had a village protecting him when Willow didn't have anyone except for Drew. Liesl couldn't believe that Willow even went back to Drew. Liesl accused Nina of making things worse for Willow by giving her a false alibi. Nina then admitted that the one thing she did to save Willow that she regretted was throwing Portia under the bus. It turns out I may have thrown Portia under the bus for nothing, because apparently Michael's alibi isn't as ironclad as it first seemed, Nina mused. Just then, Ava appeared and told them that Britt had just disrupted her latest sale. Drew was the next person to appear and invited the ladies to his house for a big Thanksgiving surprise. As for Willow, she stopped by the hospital to ask Elizabeth to come for Thanksgiving and be her maid of honor for a living room wedding. Michael overheard the whole thing. Alexis, Danny, and Jason arrived at Lulu's house so Charlotte and Danny could get their statements straight. Laura answered the door and told them that Lulu was getting Charlotte from school. And if all goes well, Dalton will be finished for good, Alexis said, alarming Laura. Danny, Alexis, and Jason went inside before Lulu appeared with Charlotte. Nathan approached them and told Lulu that she needed to tend to Rocco immediately. Inside, Danny and Charlotte practiced their statements before announcing their big lie. And that's when Dalton punched Rocco, Danny said, much to the adults' surprise. They wondered why they hadn't heard the story before. We didn't think it was our story to tell. We were also afraid that if we told you this, that Dalton would lie even more and say something even worse, Charlotte explained. Are you two sure that this is the story you want to go with? A skeptical Laura asked. Charlotte insisted it wasn't a story, but the adults were not convinced. Jason stepped in. If the adults catch you in any lies, this whole thing is going to blow up, and it's not going to be good for anyone, he said. Alexis asked to speak to Laura and Jason outside. They are so lying, Alexis announced. And not very well, Laura added. Alexis refused to put their statement on record. Laura wanted to wait until Lulu got back to do anything else. Alexis walked back into the house and told the kids that she knew they were lying. Britt was appalled when she saw Rocco's bruised and bloodied face at the juvenile detention center. She demanded that the guard bring her a first aid kit. Rocco told Britt that she shouldn't be nice to him because he stole her key fob. Britt was more concerned with Rocco's bruises, but Rocco wasn't as worried. My grandpa Sonny knows now, and he'll take care of it, Rocco said. Britt thought that Sonny would just make things work for Rocco. She left and promised to get Rocco out of there before leaving. After Britt left, Nathan and Lulu arrived. Rocco assured them that he was okay. I have a feeling that Rocco was targeted for his connections, which means any amount of time that he spends here is dangerous, Nathan said. He told the guard he was taking Rocco into his custody and back to the PCPD. Sonny found Justine at the PCPD and insisted that they had to talk. Justine was surprised to learn that Rocco had been roughed up. Fix it! Get him out of there, or I will, Sonny asserted. Justine wouldn't budge and refused to give anyone special treatment. Justine said she was hoping to meet with Dalton again, but he appeared to be missing. She also told Sonny that the forensic team didn't find any evidence that Rocco trashed the lab. She thought that was why Dalton had gone missing. She planned to push for an immediate bail hearing. When Sonny exited the interrogation room, he was pleased to see Rocco with Lulu and Nathan. Sonny re-entered the interrogation room to sit with Rocco. Lulu asked if Nathan risked his job for Rocco's sake. Nathan was ready to let the chips fall where they may, even when Justine took him to task for what he had done. Justine then told Rocco that the bail hearing would be in a few hours. You'll be sleeping in your own bed tonight, Rocco, she said. Ava paid Sidwell a visit at Windermere to tell him that she had some new art he might like. Sidwell said he did not want to discuss art, but asked if Ava knew of any piers for sale. Sidwell admitted that he was in a bad mood and wasn't being a gracious loser. Ava suggested that Sidwell and Sonny could just make peace now, but Sidwell didn't seem interested. I doubt that Sonny Corinthos has ever known peace, and I doubt that he ever will, he said. Britt soon showed up and said that she needed to speak with Sidwell. As soon as Ava left, Sidwell blew up at Britt for barging in and reminded her of what happened to Dalton. I doubt you want to suffer the same fate, he warned. Britt reminded Sidwell that all of Faison's research would die with her, so she was more valuable alive. Britt asked Sidwell to help her with the Rocco situation. Did something happen to dear Rocco? Sidwell asked. Britt realized that Sidwell was the one who had Rocco attacked. General Hospital spoilers for December 1st, 5th, 2025. Bring Willow Tate and Drew Kane Quartermain and some wedding chaos. As we always do on Early Edition Day, we're going to talk about what is coming the rest of this week and then dive into what is coming next week. And of course, this is a short week because it's Thanksgiving. We're already cooking at our house. You guys probably are as well. Let's dive right into it. On Wednesday, November 26th, we have Portia Robinson increasingly worried. Now, she knows that the clock is ticking on figuring out if this is Curtis Ashford's baby or Dr. Isaiah Gannon's baby. Curtis walked out with the ultrasound, and he's under the assumption it's his kid. She already knows this is dodgy and is real mad at Jordan Ashford about all this. She may also be questioned by the police soon, so we'll see if Alexis Davis pushes the police towards Portia to get that alibi. Fortunately, she has one. But unfortunately, it's going to mess up her personal life. Nathan West surprises Dante Falconeri on Wednesday. Nathan already got Rocco Falceroni out of juvie, which got him into a little bit of trouble with ADA Justine Turner. Then Dante tells Nathan that they're going to have to come up with an effective counterargument, and this may be about Hank Dalton's accusations since he's not around to make any. It's he said, she said, he said. Since there are like 4 people involved, Lulu Spencer is looking for answers, and I'm sure it's about Rocco and Dalton. Jason Morgan tells Lulu there's a reality that they need to face. So maybe Jason is hinting that the reality is Dalton may be gone for good and may not turn up to testify because Jason knows, because he stuck his body somewhere. Aunt Stella Henry is overjoyed when Curtis shows her the ultrasound photo that he got from Portia. But then Stella winds up really angry on Wednesday and is asking someone how many lives they plan on destroying. So maybe it's Drew because he's a jerk. Or maybe it's Jordan because she's been getting closer to Curtis and Stella isn't a fan of her getting between Curtis and Portia remaining together because Portia is pregnant. And of course, Trina Robinson is on to Jordan. Brooklyn Quartermain and Harrison Chase are shocked, and this may be about Willow's ASAP wedding to Drew. BLQ asked Chase if something means a lot to him, and I believe Brooklyn is talking to him about his mission to exonerate Willow and save her from Michael Corinthos and Drew. Of course, Brooklyn's attitude is that Michael's family. However, even his closest relatives admit that he may have shot Drew. I don't think he did. Of course, I also don't care if he did. I think it's fine. Willow asks someone if they came to change her mind. I'm sure there are going to be several people trying to change her mind about marrying Drew. She let him put that ring back on her finger. It could be Michael. It could be Nina Reeves. There are so many options on people trying to talk Willow out of this nonsense. And Drew tells someone that he does not give up and he always gets what he wants. So Drew is at the Metro Court restaurant and it may be Michael that he's talking to. Could be Nina. And again with Drew, this is the kind of stuff he would say to anybody. I don't really think there's anybody in Port Charles that cares that he got shot except for the DA. On Thursday, November 27th, it is Thanksgiving. By the way, we're not going to have Thanksgiving in Port Charles until next week, which is kind of bizarre, but that's what they're doing. So, no new episode. It should not be a rerun either. It's preempted for sports. I think it's football. We keep movies on for Thanksgiving in our house. On Friday, November 28th, same thing. No new General Hospital episode. It'll be leftovers and more sports. The following week, though, things are going to pick back up with 5 full episodes. December 1st through the 5th, we are finally going to see Thanksgiving in Port Charles. And unfortunately, that means a Drew and Willow's wedding. I'm guessing we're going to get a couple of days of Thanksgiving for their nuptials. They're doing a wedding at their house, but I'm really wondering if it's going to make it all the way to I do and man and wife. The last time they tried to get married, she freaked out about the whole Nina and Drew sexy thing and walked out. This time, I honestly think Willow just feels trapped. She tried to talk Drew out of it, saying she doesn't want to marry for a situation, but for love. And then he laid all that "but don't you love me" stuff on. It's just a mess. And I hope he doesn't get what he wants. Given that Chase thinks Drew is awful and wants to save Willow from him too, I would expect Chase to amp up the efforts to break Michael's alibi as soon as possible and expose that he and Jacinda lied and try to get the charges against Willow dropped so she doesn't have to go through with this wedding. This may also motivate Alexis to drop Portia's name to the cops to also try and stop the wedding because Alexis hates Drew and obviously she doesn't want him to get what he wants, which is Willow. Nina, Carly Corinthos Spencer, and Ava Jerome all have invitations to the redo Willow and Drew wedding, and I'm guessing Scout Kane will be on hand. Elizabeth Weber is invited as the maid of honor, and literally nobody but Drew wants this wedding to happen. It's awful. It would be even more awful if Willow can't get out of this and actually marries that creep. So, next week's action is going to be heavily centered on this wedding and breaking alibis and trying to do what they can to get Willow exonerated. I know fans are also hoping Drew doesn't get what he wants. Brooklyn and Gio continue to bond. Brooklyn was absolutely shocked when Gio called her mom and they hugged at the hospital. It was this major breakthrough, but unfortunately, it kind of came at the cost of Dante completely alienating Gio, and he's very upset about Rocco. The last time Dante got this upset at Gio about Rocco, Gio didn't deserve it at all. Rocco and Danny Morgan were the ones who made the bad decisions before about the alcohol poisoning and all of that, and Gio was actually helping. This time, he kind of does deserve some heat, but really, Emma is ultimately to blame. But Dante's expectation is that Gio is a good and responsible big brother to Rocco, no matter that Gio doesn't want to be around Brooklyn or Dante. And that's fair, but I do think Brooklyn is going to try and reconcile Dante and Gio, make her best effort. Ned Quartermain should be out of the ICU soon, but his heart crisis may cause some lingering problems, and Tracy Quartermain is going to be very upset that Brooklyn and other family kept this from her. Britt Westbourne is about to get busy plotting to destroy Sidwell. That's what I think is coming now that Britt found out that Sidwell had her precious Rocco attacked in juvie, and she had to see that and was horrified. Things are also about to go downhill for Michael because Chase won't stop, and Jacinda Bracken did lie. She lied to Michael about her alibi being legit because she was elsewhere and she was with Ezra Boyle. Plus, Carly and Valentine Cassadine are going to amp up their plotting against Jack Brennan. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Wes Ramsey is headed to Days of Our Lives, so another soap role is on the way for ex-Peter August's portrayer. In Duel's latest sneak peek video, fans caught a glimpse of Ramsey tangled up in some Salem action. Of course, this isn't Wes Ramsey's first rodeo at Days. Following his time on Guiding Light, Ramsey eventually landed at Duel and played a character named Owen Kent in 2009. As part of a Kyriakis DiMera feud, E.J. DiMera ordered Owen to kidnap Stephanie Johnson. That led to Owen holding Stephanie captive and becoming totally obsessed with her. Now Days has a new stalker storyline going on that seemingly involves a bit of misdirection. There's a good chance that when Stephanie gets snatched, and she will, according to Days' sneak peek video, Jeremy Horton will be blamed due to his abuse of Stephanie in the past. In reality, Days of Our Lives spoilers suggest it'll be Owen who's behind all the stalker drama and who ultimately kidnaps Stephanie once again. That explains why Stephanie's father, Steve Johnson, can be seen raging at Ramsey's character and angrily asking where his daughter is in the preview clip. It's possible Ramsey could be portraying a new character instead, but it'd be silly to have him play a new Stephanie Snatcher when he's already played one before. It seems safe to say Ramsey is playing Owen, and that his Stephanie fixation is back in a big way. GH viewers remember Wes Ramsey best as Peter August, a role he played on the ABC soap from 2017, until Peter's grim fate in 22. Since Peter was such a loathed character on social media, many fans have been nervous about him potentially making a comeback. With Nathan West and Britt Westbourne back on screen, anything is possible. Cesar Faison was Peter's father too, so that's worth keeping in mind. Days of Our Lives films several months in advance, so Ramsey surely wrapped filming on his villainous Duel arc long ago. The door's still open for Ramsey to return as GH's Peter August, but plenty of us are hoping Peter stays dead and gone for good. General Hospital spoilers say more shockers will hit Port Charles in the months ahead, so we'll bring you updates on any other major comings and goings news.